It's that time once again. Engines on. Let's go. Welcome back to another episode of The Whole Truth. My name is Wes, and it's my job to bring you relevant Star Citizen news every week in a concise format. So sit back and join me for episode number 35. Welcome back to The Whole Truth, everyone. It's been a long time coming, but I'm finally back. For those of you that missed the memo, my wife and I had our first baby, and I got extremely sick immediately after that. Needless to say, the adjustment has been huge, but now I'm ready to get back to it. Thanks for coming back to watch, because without you guys and gals, I would not be making this show. Let's get on with the news. A heck of a lot has happened since the last episode of Whole Truth was released. We're going to touch on the most important highlights and get caught up on this week's news. Since the last show, Star Citizen's dogfighting module, known as Arena Commander, has been made available for all Star Citizen backers. If you own Star Citizen, you can play this module now. On the same note, everyone is eagerly awaiting patch 0.9, which is going to add a lot of new stuff to the game, and hopefully it's going to drop this week. If you're behind on updates, Capture the Core is also available to play in Arena Commander as well. Let's do a rundown of CIG's short list of new features for 0.9. Murray Cup Racing mode is going to be added. This mode will be called New Horizons. We saw a trailer for this mode at Gamescom in Germany, and it looks pretty brilliant so far. The race is going to take place in an upper atmospheric scenario. Let's have a look at a bit of this trailer.
We're back, and we're racing in New Horizons. I'm Trevor Basque for GSN Murray Cup coverage. Couldn't argue for better conditions to race in, I suppose.
That is awesome. Vandal Swarm co-op mode will be added so that you may join up with your friends to co-op against enemy AI. The M50 and the 350R are ready for flight and racing and will be flyable in all Arena Commander game modes. A private match system will be added that allows you to specifically play with your friends instead of just random queuing. This is a great feature that will be extremely beneficial to orgs for building up camaraderie, even some training and some strategy. Our organization is looking forward to doing some weekly private match events and even doling out some prizes. A system for friend codes will be added so you can join matches with your friends. Arena Commander's new leaderboard system will be added and will display on the RSI website. All ships will have upgraded performance. The system is being upped significantly. The speed and acceleration of every ship will be increased. The afterburners will now increase acceleration instead of top speed. The word on the street as the top speed is going to be about 2 times what it was before. The HUD is getting an overhaul. You'll be able to customize your ship systems much easier during combat. All Star Citizen hangars have been remastered with the new forward-looking room system, and the asteroid hangar has been added. A new pause menu has been added and will make it easier to support features like custom key bindings in the future. There are selectable profiles in the meantime for some of the most common setups. 6DOF will finally be introduced. The IFCS has been greatly improved. With this, CIG is giving pilots a lot more control and including the ability to overboost directional thrusters at the expense of more fuel burn. Physics modeling and damage feedback have been improved. You will now be shaken about in your ship based on the direction and power of an impact. The G-force animations will also more accurately reflect the physics it would have on your character. This patch is scheduled to drop on 10 September of 2014, but of course, it's already been delayed once and that could happen again. So keep your fingers crossed, and if you'd like to check out the changes to the game, you can always join me at Twitch TV /WeAreTheRomantics. I will be streaming the game on patch release day assuming it's not in the middle of the night. During the live Gamescom event in Germany, we got to see a lot of new and exciting things in the pipeline for Star Citizen, including some things that were released that day, such as the Constellation Variants. If you're anything like me, you're pretty excited about the FPS module as well. I've been playing competitive FPS games since the original Tribes, and when I saw the FPS video start during the event, I got really amped up. Yeah, way to crush my soul, CIG. I got so excited when that video started playing, and then it was just over. I cried a little bit on the inside. What we did see looked amazing though, and I can't wait for it to get here. And talking about high fidelity here, new hangars are coming. With the release of the asteroid hangar in 0.9, CIG deemed it necessary to revamp all the hangars. The hangars we've become accustomed to are outdated and not as nice, and we're definitely in need of this revamp. Let's check out the new hangars real quick. I think you will be impressed. I can tell you're impressed. With your new hangar on the way in 0.9, wouldn't you also like to see a new ship? The Constellation Variants lineup is here, and wow, they are pretty spectacular. First, let's have a look at the commercial, and yes, it has aliens in it and a famous theme you may just recognize.
Exiting interspace. Location unknown.
Everyone okay?
I'm fine, sir.
Did we get it?
Jump point is charted, sir.
Good. Comms, we got any contact?
No, sir. Scope is clear.
Keep looking. Scarlet, take us on the tour.
With pleasure.
She's all yours, Doctor.
We've got a protoplanet, no atmosphere. Unknown planet 2. There's an atmosphere.
Doctor.
It could sustain life.
So, after the awesome Kubrick-inspired intro, the crew of the Aquila completely destroyed the Prime Directive for science. I'm cool with that. All kidding aside, I have to say that this is the most epic video that CIG has released. It looked absolutely amazing and really gave a nice feel that I'm sure a lot of us explorers have been waiting for. I did purchase the Aquila upgrade for my Constellation mainly because I think the front end is way nicer than the original front end. The Aquila is the exploration variant of the Constellation and will run you $325 for the package. It comes with a lot of cool stuff though, including the Ursa rover that you saw at the end of that video. This one sold me hard. The Connie was the first ship I ever purchased for Star Citizen, and I'm looking forward to running exploration missions with my crew on Twitch when the time comes. One confusing bit is what happened to the original Constellation? Well, that Connie is now referred to as the Andromeda and keeps the original loadout, appearing to be the most well-balanced ship for combat at the moment. Keep in mind, we've been told many times that the stats are all due for changing, and some things on the statistics for the ships are downright arbitrary. My advice has always been to just pay attention to the described role or theme of the ship and variant instead of paying too much attention to the statistics page. The Andromeda weighs in at $275 for the package. We also now have a new entry point for the Constellation with the Taurus coming in at $200. The Taurus is the base level and is a dedicated freighter. The ship is still fully configurable and you can totally add a zillion weapons and other gadgets to it, but it just comes without all these bells and whistles to start with. At the top end, we now have the luxury Constellation that you may have seen teaser pictures of from Sandy on Facebook. This Connie is called the Phoenix and it was only on sale for a limited time during the Gamescom event. I'm sure it will come back at some point though. It was $400 and came with some pretty neat features including a hot tub, Lynx rover, and the Kruger P-72 Archimedes fighter, which is a more advanced version of the Merlin snub fighter that the Andromeda gets. The description for the Phoenix also states that the ship can be used as an organization command ship and includes a hidden sensor-dampened area for secret cargo. The lineup is pretty interesting, and I also picked up an upgrade for the Phoenix just in case the command ship thing becomes a big deal later on for organization stuff. With the new awesome footage from Gamescom and Star Citizen's growing recognition, the game has reached over 52 million in crowdfunding. In the most recent letter from Chris Roberts thanking backers, Chris also informs us that certain AMD graphics cards will come with starter ships included with purchase. With that came an AMD racing skin for the Mustang Omega Racer variant. I think a lot of folks were surprised with this choice considering the Mustang is supposed to be a tough little fighter and didn't seem to be well suited to racing. My opinion is that this is a good thing because it shows that their vision includes the ability to spec out a lot of different ships for racing instead of just the M50 and the 350R. Everyone who pledged before the $52 million mark will receive a BB-12 jetpack from Azure Sky Aero. Listed as being capable of EVA operation for 6 continuous hours, this model sports 24 precision nozzle thrusters and 2 heavy-duty tanks of nitrogen propellant that can be hot-swapped while drifting or refueled on the ship. The intended usage is listed as precision mining operations or delicate salvage retrieval. Most excellent. The next stretch goal is at 54 million, and we're promised some persistent universe content. Listed as more detailed AI activities, Chris says that we'll get 10 distinct types of AI character roles on planet-side environments. This will include bartender, doctor, entertainer, nurse, sanitation worker, security guard, shoppers, tourists, vagrants, and vandals. That's V-A-N-D-A-L-S instead of U-U-L-S. More AI roles will be added with future stretch goals. These classes of characters will be fully expressive and play a specific role in planet-side interactions as well as the game's economy. A quick opinion on this one from me. The stretch goal is a bit scary to me. I think a lot of people, including myself, were already expecting this to be a thing. This makes me feel like the planet-side areas were going to be just a building with an NPC vendor in it, and they're just standing around and you just buy stuff from them and that's all they do. It kind of seems to go against what Chris has stated in his plan for the game. It's great that this is going to be a thing now, but kind of shocking that it's in a stretch goal and not something that was already going to be there. There's also the possibility that a lot of these stretch goals are things that were already going to be there anyway, but they were waiting to make them visible to us so they can use them in stretch goals. Just a humble opinion. I hope it all works out and we get whatever makes the game great. Let's find out what Chris had to say this week in 10 for the Chairman. 10 for the Chairman is a show where Chris Roberts answers questions from the official Star Citizen forums. For our sanity, I pick out the important ones that reveal new information and try to refrain from rehashing too many old questions that have been answered too many times. If you ever want to know everything that was discussed in an episode, you can watch the video or check out Reddit where there's always a transcript posted. Chris was asked if data stored on your ship's computer can be compromised by destruction or hacking. Chris said that most of these details have not been solidified yet, but that capital ships will have terminals for information that can be hacked during boarding. One interesting thing added to the ongoing discussion about the PvP slider is that Chris says that on multi-crew ships, the captain of the ship will determine the slider settings for any outings. Your personal settings will not affect the outcome at all. Only the captain's settings apply. Chris stated that the extra customizable NPC packages that we'll have later on will put an NPC in your hangar with idle animations and speech. If you don't know what I'm referring to, Star Citizen will have a way to obtain more character slots and customize the character just like your main character. If your main character actually bites the dust, one of these NPCs you created and customized can inherit your stuff and part of your faction ratings. Let's do some other news. This week in other news, Chris Roberts responds about flight model realism on the forums. The argument has always been whether the game should have a more atmospheric flight model like a World War II sim, or if it should be more representative of what combat in space would actually be like. Chris responds to allegations of there being literally no skill involved by stating that actually watching matches, you can see skill involved when a good Aurora pilot can take out a Hornet pilot one-on-one. He expresses that the combat is nowhere near as simple or casual as some people think, and that leaderboards will start to show that soon. Chris also states that his intended vision for the flight model in the game has always been as much realism as possible while still keeping the combat fun and accessible to everyone. It's been said before that in this type of space fighting situation, there wouldn't actually be any of this style of dogfighting. Everything would be automated and handled by computers and targeting systems. So arguing about realism is a bit absurd. Chris also reiterates that Arena Commander is such a tiny portion of this game that you can't start judging the complexity of ship-to-ship combat based on just this. Once the persistent universe launches, we'll have much larger areas, many more types of ships, and the need to rely on ship systems and manage them effectively. I would like to add that in my opinion, the skill in this game will come down to knowing your limitations with your current ship and loadout and the knowledge you possess. Being able to assess the situation and how to proceed will be a big deal in the PU when we have much more massive ships and more variety. Knowing your enemy will be huge, and using the tools you have effectively will decide battles. The raw skill of flying your ship, which is what flight sims focus on, won't get you the victory that you want. There will be so much more involved. I love flight sims as well, but the flight sim community is well known for being very particular, and I just don't think the Star Citizen is a game where you can expect to get a hardcore flight sim feeling. This game is designed to be fun and in space at the same time. It's designed to require planning and knowledge of many different mechanics and systems regarding your ships and the enemy ships. I hope that there will be enough here to keep the flight sim community interested in the game, and I hope that people don't feel too let down because they were expecting a hardcore sim. Flight simming is something that 90% of today's gaming community will not have the patience for, and it would be bad for the health of the game if we had too much sim and not enough game. I'm providing a link to the forum discussion and a link to the discussion on Reddit where you can read a lot of great responses from the community. As always, you can find links down below in the show more info section referencing everything I talk about in this show. The r/Star Citizen post of the week goes to Nakara for the post with an Imgur gallery of art from the August monthly report. This also goes to Nakara for being a constant help on r/Star Citizen. It takes a lot of time and effort to put together all those amazing posts for the community, and I for one greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Nakara, for being an awesome community member. And with that, we come to the end of a long overdue episode of The Whole Truth. Once again, thank you all for being patient with me while we go through the adjustments of our new life as parents. You can expect Whole Truth to start airing on a weekly basis again, and it will typically release on Tuesdays. If you want to help support the show, there are numerous ways listed below. I also do variety game streaming on Twitch TV, and that's part of my job, and I would love to see you all there. Without you guys, none of this would be possible. Engines powering down.